When a man hurts you, confuse him with this 12-part strategy. But I'm going to warn you, this isn't a strategy your therapist would advise you to use because it's toxic, but it also gets you exactly what you want. How do I know this? Because I've used this strategy to help hundreds of women get exactly the same result. The only problem is this strategy is a very delicate balance. So if you skip any of these 12 steps or you don't do them precisely as I advise you to, then you're going to end up in a worse situation than before. Let's begin. There's an expected response that men will have of you when they hurt you, and there is an unexpected response that men will have of you when they hurt you. We're going to go through both and why they're important. Let's start with the expected response. He expects you to care, right? Because you love him. He's got an amazing D game. He's the best thing since sliced bread. You've never met another man as amazing and awesome as he is, right? That's what he's believing. In his expectation of you to care, there's a specific response he's expecting from that, which is for you to show emotion. So if he is to hurt you, it's expected that in your hurt, you will be upset, you'll be angry, you'll express that upsetness or anger through yelling, screaming, cursing, slapping him, whatever it is that he expects you to express your emotion, however that is, right? Then from that expression of emotion, he's going to feel very important. You're going to confirm, as we talked about in yesterday's show, who he feels like he is, what he feels like his identity is, right? When you're showing all of that emotion, all of that anger because of how much he's hurt you. Now let's go into the unexpected response, the one that he doesn't anticipate that you will respond, or way he anticipates you will respond because of how you feel. See, if you don't care about that man, you don't feel anything towards him, he doesn't really matter to you, his D game really isn't that good, he's just another guy, he's not him, as the kids say. You're going to show no emotion when that man hurts you, no matter what it is he does, because it doesn't matter if he hurts you if you don't already care about him. You don't care about him at all, right? So because you show no emotion, right, coming from the fact that you don't care, now he's starting to become a little bit concerned, because the outward action of showing no emotion, even though no emotion sounds like doing nothing, right? The action of showing no emotion translates to you not caring, which is not what he expected, because he expected himself to have this huge D game. Now, all of a sudden, he goes from feeling very important when you show a lot of emotion and you show that anger and you show your hurt and you tell him off, to feeling very unimportant because you're showing no emotion, because you don't seem moved or shaken by anything that has transpired, because he understands deep down in his heart when he has taken actions that would hurt you. He's not stupid, okay? Guys can be a little bit emotionally stunted. They're not idiots though. So when they do things to hurt you, they're able to recognize that those things would hurt you. So when you respond like this, instead of responding like this, you really change his pathway of thinking. That begins the cycle of confusion where he's like, wait a second. Well, things were supposed to go a particular way. They're not going that particular way. I'm confused now. I need to do some digging, some soul searching, some understanding to try to figure out what is going on. And now we have this man in the exact emotional state that we're going to use to execute the rest of this strategy. I hope you are ready. Where a lot of women end up going wrong is in this step right here, because when you're hurt by a man, your therapist will tell you things like, hey, open, honest communication is the way to go. You want to make sure that you tell this man exactly how you feel, exactly why it's important to you, exactly why you're hurt and why you're upset. Go into detail, tell him every single thought that you have in your mind, because in a great relationship, you keep the floor open, you keep communication open. What your therapist is not thinking about, okay? Not that your therapist is dumb, but your therapist is living in an idealistic world. Share your emotions, open communication. People will love you. People will respond to you appropriately. Yes, but also no. There's a second part of this, right? When you give your feelings to someone, you have to acknowledge the state that they're in when you give them those feelings. What do I mean by that? You can share your feelings with a man. Tell him how hurt you are. Tell him how in pain you are about the thing that he did. Let's say, for the sake of example, he said you guys were going to go out on a date on Tuesday together, and he planned for this date. He said, you guys are going to go here. He said, you guys are going to do this thing at this time. Tuesday comes. He doesn't follow up. He doesn't remind you about the date. He doesn't even acknowledge the fact that you guys set up a date for Tuesday, and you get stood up because you're sitting there waiting to get ready for the date, and then he never says anything to you. Let's just say, for the sake of example, that's the thing that has hurt you and upset you. You might say to yourself, okay, my therapist told me I need to approach this by being open and honest with my feelings and exactly what I think and exactly why this hurt me and exactly what I was going through in the process of my hurt and my pain. You tell him that. When you tell him that, instead of him being open and receiving those words, receiving that hurt, he has a wall up, right? He gets defensive. He starts giving you excuses of why he couldn't do this and why he couldn't do that. He doesn't even see your perspective in some cases. In some cases, he gaslights you. You have to understand, if you're communicating to someone open and honestly who's not even ready to receive what you have to communicate, then the communication itself is pointless. This is the biggest mistake that a lot of women make, because when it comes to the explanation, they're ready to explain themselves that, hey, I'm hurt by this thing you did. I'm only responding this way, or I'm only acting this way because of A, B, and C that you did. And they're ready to write paragraphs and they're ready to deliver voice notes. And wait a second. In our strategy here, we're going to change the way that you approach your explanation. And we're going to make sure that when you finally do explain yourself, you're not explaining yourself to a wall. That you're explaining yourself to someone who's actually ready to receive the information that you're ready to give them. It's not about not communicating with a man. It's about understanding the order of operations in which you will communicate to a man where he'll actually want to make a change. Let's talk about noticing. In this third chapter, this third step in the process of you confusing this man to get your desired result. In our example that we're going to use for the rest of the show, let's say that you had a date that was supposed to be on Tuesday. This is date day, okay? You guys were just, let's say for the sake of argument, supposed to go get sushi at your favorite sushi spot on that Tuesday at 7 p.m. That Tuesday came and he didn't follow up with you about that sushi date. He just pretended like it didn't even exist. The Tuesday came and the Tuesday went. He didn't text you or call you all day. Very hurtful to you, very confusing to you, very frustrating to you. Now what you're going to do, see, we're not doing any over-explaining, and we're definitely not communicating to him when he's not even ready to receive. We're just going to subsequently take our energy from the energy that we were giving him beforehand. When I say energy being given, what I'm talking about is the attention that you'll give someone that you like. Think about reducing that. So for example, the way that you'll text them, the frequency in which you'll text them, the amount of effort you'll put into your text, making them detailed, asking him questions, following up, trying to create conversation, obviously calling him, FaceTiming him, liking his picture. You know, the kids love liking pictures nowadays. Commenting on his pictures, liking his stories, commenting on his stories, or DMing him about his stories, right? All of these different things that you'll use to put energy into someone on a regular basis, especially someone that you're building a romantic relationship with. I want you to decrease that. So we're no longer going to be doing that after the Tuesday, right? So Tuesday happened. We're automatically going to stop the amount of energy that we're giving him. Now, we don't necessarily need to go ghost yet. What we want to do, though, is we want to drastically take that amount of energy that we're giving him down, okay? But here's the real key to this. As you're taking your energy down, I don't even want you to acknowledge what's changing within you. I know this sounds I told you your therapist is not going to advise you to do this. When you take your energy down, it's going to be just enough for him to not say you're ignoring me. But it's going to be enough for him to feel like this is different. You're different. You're acting different. I feel weird. I feel strange. I feel like something has changed. We want that. We want him questioning his own reality. We want him confused in this confusing state. Now things are changing that he's going to have to look into. Now things are changing within you that he feels the need to ask you questions about. We want him actually in this time period, as the days are going by, right? We want him in this time period to even address the fact that, hey, I'm noticing your texts are a little bit dry. I'm noticing you don't seem to be as interested in talking to me. I'm noticing you're a little bit short in your words, and when we talk, it seems like you just want to get off the phone, or you're always busy nowadays, or you don't have time for me anymore. I want him to respond to you like that. But what you're not going to do is you're not going to give him the benefit of being able to acknowledge or feel like he's actually justified in the way that he's thinking. And I want you to pretend as if, what? You think that I'm acting weird? No, honestly, I'm not even trying to act weird. Even though you feel like my energy is different, it's not actually because my energy is different. I've just been, out and about. I've been hanging out with the girlies. I've been enjoying myself. I've been having fun. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. No big deal. I just been living my life. I didn't mean to make you feel like that. But honestly, nothing has changed within me. I'm the same person that I've always been. I'm just continuing to live my life. If that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. Our fourth step, we're going to talk about denial. For those of you who are accustomed to being a people pleaser or find it very difficult to disappoint people, this is going to be the most challenging part of this 12-part strategy. But I promise you, this is where things will really take a turn for the better for you. He, at some point in his anxiety, is going to start building different narratives within his mind. He's going to start asking himself questions. Why does she feel this way? Okay, why is she acting this way? And what does it mean? In the process of this confusion, he's going to start doing things to try to make himself return back to a state of homeostasis. What I mean by a state of homeostasis is return back to a place where he feels like, you know what? Things aren't so bad. And she clearly still likes me. She clearly still has feelings for me. And she clearly is still willing to give me that energy. We're all good. I haven't lost her. Eventually, he's going to ask you a very important question. He's going to say, do you want to hang out in some capacity, right? In so many words. Because at this point, his confusion and his feeling of, she's not giving me the same amount of energy. She doesn't seem to care that much, right? He's going to essentially use this question as a way to test the waters to see where are you mentally. Also, where are you spiritually? How do you really feel about him, okay? When he asks you that, you're going to do something very strange. You're going to say no. But notice, I put a period here, okay? Because it's supposed to represent how I want you to say no. Your natural response, especially when you like a guy, and I know this is going to give some of you anxiety, when you like a guy, your natural response is when he asks you to hang out, if you actually can't hang out, you say no, I have to do A, B, and C. I'm busy at work, I got this, I have that, right? To explain yourself. Remember, he has hurt you, we're going to confuse him to get your desired result. So in this instance, you're going to say no, but you're not going to actually explain yourself as to why you're saying no. You're just going to say no and flat out deny him for hanging out with you, right? I know that this is going to be very, very confusing to some of you. Why can't I explain myself? Why should I just go silent? That's going to be very awkward. He's going to think I don't like him anymore. Yes. Exactly. For our fifth step in our strategy, we're going to now discuss the reasoning. This is actually a very intricate part, so I want you to listen very carefully because this is where a lot of people start to make mistakes. You have your original reasoning for why you're hurt in the first place. What I want you to do is take this reasoning and we're going to implement it into your response. Because what's going to happen is in the time when you say no without an explanation, he's going to be very confused. Wait, so I'm asking you to hang out on Saturday and you're just flat out saying no. What's the reason you can't hang out on Saturday? Now he's prompted to ask you because he was expecting, remember we talked about expectation earlier, he was expecting you to give him a particular response. Even if you're not going to be able to hang out with him, he's expecting a reasonable reason in which you can't hang out with him. Something that's preferably outside of your control, like, hey, I've got work. Hey, I already have plans on this day with my family. I can't change that. I already have a birthday party that I'm supposed to attend at this time. I can't change that, right? That's what he's expecting. So when you just say no and you don't give him an actual explanation, now you're subverting expectations. Now you're confusing him even more, okay? But in a good way. Now, your reasoning in our example is that he stood you up on Tuesday, he didn't follow up on this date, never said anything about it. This is why you're hurt. You're not going to say, I'm not hanging out with you on the Saturday because you stood me up on Tuesday and I'm upset at that, so I don't want to hang out with you today. No, you're not going to say that. You're going to take that reasoning, though, and you're going to now translate it into the reason why you're not able to hang out, but without calling him out. Let me explain this to you in a way that makes more sense. For example, your reason is that he didn't follow up on the date on Tuesday. Instead of saying that, you're going to say, the reason I can't hang out is because my Saturday is my only day off, and I want to make sure if I make a plan that it actually gets followed through, because I can't be wasting my Saturday. And if I'm gonna spend some time with someone, I want to make sure that the plans are solid and the plans actually happen. So I'd rather save that Saturday for my girlfriends or for my family, something that would have solid plans. Now, you don't have to say that many words, but I'm just giving you an example of how I want you to explain that. Now, when you do this, notice what just happened there in the way that I said that, right? I didn't say, hey, I need you to change this, okay? I also didn't say, I'm upset about the fact that you didn't follow up with me on Tuesday, and so now I'm saying no to hanging. No, I didn't say any of that. All I said was, I appreciate a plan following through. That's what I need. That's what I want. That's what's important to me. Because that's important to me, I'm making a choice to only make plans if those plans are going to follow through. Because I want to make sure that the time I have allocated to do whatever I want and enjoy myself, I actually get the opportunity to do what I want and enjoy myself. Notice how everything revolves around what I need, what's important to me, what I want, and the actions that I take based on what I want and what's most important to me. I don't care about what's important to you. It's not important. I'm not asking you to change anything. That's unimportant. I don't even care about how you react or respond to me. All I care about is what works for me and what doesn't. Now again, we're getting his mind to start turning. The confusion is starting to twist and turn into trying to say, oh, what are you actually trying to say? How are you actually feeling? Now at this point, I want you to stick to this. I don't want you to acknowledge that, hey, I'm doing this because of what happened on Tuesday. I don't want you to do anything. All I want you to do is translate it just like I said. This is going to be a very interesting place because now that you've given that response, his mind is going to start twisting and turning. He's going to be very confused. He's also going to start scattering. He's going to start throwing everything he has at you. In this sense, what I mean, really, when I say he's throwing everything out at you, right? Give an apology, give excuses, tell you how much he likes you, because he's trying to recover this situation. He's going to throw the kitchen sink at you, as the saying goes, right? He's going to throw this kitchen sink at you, trying to recover and say, hey, by the way, I know you've been kind of dwindling down on your energy towards me. It's starting to make me feel very uncomfortable because I'm starting to feel like maybe you don't actually like me. I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm losing you. I'm starting to feel like maybe you're going to start being interested in another guy or maybe just want to be single, right? This now is this desperation, right, that he's starting to feel. I want you to respond to appropriately. Because here's going to be your natural inclination to respond to him when he starts throwing this desperation at you. When he starts apologizing, I'm so sorry about what happened. I didn't mean to treat you like that. You know how much I like you. On Tuesday, he's going to magically, a lot of times in this place right here, he'll magically remember exactly why, what you're upset about, or magically it'll come to him and he'll say, so Tuesday, I know you're probably upset about that. And I know we were supposed to go for sushi and I had just forgot, but I promise you this Saturday, I'll make it up to you, and I promise you on Saturday everything will be all good and there won't be any issues and we'll follow through. Not only will I take you out here and then we'll go. This is where a lot of women fall apart in the strategy, because when they finally get what they want in terms of him apologizing and seeming like he's sorry, they're like, okay, the jig is up. All right, it's fine. It's all good. I'm glad that you're willing to apologize. I'm fine. I'm not even mad anymore. You want to go out for a suit? Okay, and we going and you get me flowers too. Okay, I'm so happy, right? Don't do that, okay? We actually have more to go in the strategy in order to properly cement what we want to cement in his mind. This experience is not over. He needs to go through an experience to actually experience a change. You can't let him off the hook here. This, in our sixth step, is where a lot of women will let the man off the hook. You will not get your desired result if you let him off the hook here. He is desperate. He is going to try to throw everything at you. Now that he's seeing he's losing out on you, he really wants to return to a place of homeostasis, meaning he wants to return to a place that feels normal to him, where you're giving him energy, you seem interested in him, you like him, and you're showing him that you like him through your actions. For step number 7, it is belt to ass time. You're going to spank the living daylights out of this man. He's going to feel it. I want you to really understand what we're doing here. He has hurt you. You have gone through the process of not showing him emotion, okay? Not responding in the way that he anticipates. Now you're throwing belt to ass. He's going to feel pain for what he has done to you. I told you your therapist is not going to advise you to do this. But let me tell you how you're going to make him feel pain in a feminine way. You've been dating this guy. At a certain point of dating this guy, you should be gathering information of what that guy likes, specifically what that guy likes about you, okay? What he likes about your looks, what he likes about your body, what he likes about your way that you dress, your style, everything. I want you now. I told you this is not going to be very, PG or very PC, I should say. You're going to take this information that he's given you about how he likes you to be, how he likes you to look, and you're going to use it against him. Because come Saturday, you are going to go out with your girlfriends. The day that he asks you to hang out, you're going to hang out with someone else or do something else. You're going to make a plan for that day that he asked you to hang out. It's going to feel like a slap in the face because it's meant to be a slap in the face. Not only are you going to go out on the day that he asked you to hang out that you just denied, okay? You're also, I'm going to write this down here, your hair, you're going to do it exactly how he loves it on you. So this is information you need to have. Does he like it when it's in a straight pony? Does he like it when your hair is down? Does he like it when your hair is curly? How does he like it? You're going to do your hair that way. How does he like you to dress? Okay? What's his favorite look on you? That, even if he hasn't told you, you gauge it through his responses to you. When you showed up in a nice red dress, what has been his response to you? When you showed up in a black silky dress, what has been his response to you? When you show up in a tight pair of jeans, what is his response to you, right? Gauge through his response, what does he love seeing you in the most? What gets him really sexually riled up? I know this sounds horrible. We're doing something very special. You're going to dress the particular way he loves to see on you, right? Booty, you're going to make sure it's popping. You know the men love booty. Even if he is a Yiddies guy, you want to make sure the Yiddies are popping. And whatever it is that you're wearing, okay? If he's a booty guy, make sure the booty's popping. If he's a Yiddies guy, make sure the Yiddies are popping. If he loves both, make sure both are popping. Obviously, this is something that's a little bit lesser because men don't really understand makeup, but you should get an understanding what looks does he usually gravitate towards. When do I notice him complimenting my face or my look the most, right? What type of makeup do I usually wear that complements my skin tone the best, that he's always all over me when I'm wearing that look, okay? You're gonna combine all of these things and you're gonna make sure this is exactly how you dress on Saturday when you go out. Remember, this is the day that he just asked you to hang out on. This is also the day that you just finished denying him without giving him a proper reasoning for it. Then when he asked you about it, why you're denying him, you told him you like to make solid plans and that you don't like to flop on plans, so you wanna make sure your plan is solid for Saturday so you're not gonna hang out with him. Now he's starting to think back to what could she be referring to? Is she talking about Tuesday? He's become desperate. You don't respond to that desperation. Now you've made a plan to go out on the day he asked you to hang out, wearing and looking exactly how he is most attracted to you. Belt to ass time. We're not done. All throughout the day, for our 8th step, you are gonna be posing for pictures. All day. From the beginning of the day when you wear your outfit, you're gonna be taking pictures in the mirror, to when you go out, whether it's to dinner, whether you wanna go out to an event with some friends, whatever it is that you wanna do, you're looking poppin' and you're taking pictures. Now, you don't have to post every picture that you take, but I want you to pick out the best pictures of that day. Remember, of those pictures, what are you wearing? You're wearing exactly what he loves on you. That look that he can't resist. Everything that you could possibly put together that you know he is so sexually attracted to you when you're doing this or when you're wearing this, all of that's on you. And you're taking the most popping picture. I'm talking sunlight hitting your face. I'm talking you, if you're dark skinned, you've got that sunshine, you know, that golden hour just hitting your face, hitting your skin, your melanin's popping, everything, okay? Pictures all throughout the day. Prepare yourself. Also prepare your girlfriends that they're going to be taking pictures of you throughout the day. Then, whatever app it is that he likes to spend the most time on, that is the app you're going to choose to post these pictures, okay? So let me break this down for you. If you know that your man spends exorbitant amounts of time on Snap, Snap is the place where you're going to post these pictures. You don't have to post all of them, the best ones. If you know he spends a lot of time on Facebook, then it's Facebook. Instagram, then it's Instagram. All you have to do is use your understanding of how he acts and how he spends his time to decide which one you're going to post it on. Now, think about what we've done. We're applying belt to ass right now. You now went out looking sexy as possibly can be, but specifically very, very sexy to the man that hurt you. Now he's seeing on his favorite app of choice, when he's looking at your profile on the Saturday that he asked you to hang out, he's seeing you go out, whether it be with your friends, with whoever it is that you're going out with. And he's seeing you look not just sexy in general, but sexy in the way that he finds you the most sexy. It feels that much more personal to him. Especially, remember what I said, you're even gonna dress in the exact clothing item. Don't make it a new item. I want you to use the item that he's already said, I love this item on you. Because why? That means that that item is attached to a memory or a time or a place. He feels, I know it sounds weird, like that item is a representation of your sexual attraction to him and your connection together. I'm telling you the truth. So for example, if it's that red dress that he's like, oh, that red dress looks fire on you, you look amazing, you just know he's fiending, he's foaming at the mouth that day. Now when you go out and you're wearing that same red dress, he's gonna feel like in his mind, that's a message to him. Why would you wear the exact red dress that I love on you? Are you trying to send me a message? Is this supposed to be an FU? Remember, all of this confusion is making him feel a whirlwind of emotions that we want to get to a certain point. But we're doing this in a feminine way where we're applying belt to ass without even saying a word. It's still belt to ass time, but we're at step number 9 now. Coldness. You've been cold throughout this time, but this is when you're gonna add the little extra bit of it on top of that. A lot of women make a mistake at this point because come the Saturday, this strategy is gonna work so well, his anxiety is gonna be so high, you're gonna start noticing a different reaction and response from him than you regularly are used to. This can become a little bit exciting for you because you're like, ooh, my plan is working. Oh my God, this plan is working so well. I think I'll just abandon everything I was gonna do because clearly he's like a little sad little dog now. I can't continue doing this when he's like this sad little dog. I wanna just go back into his arms. I wanna embrace him again. Don't, we're still applying belt to ass. Let me explain to you what will happen here. Come the Saturday, you're gonna take your pictures, you're gonna post them. Now when you post these pictures, he's gonna get really nervous. He sees you wearing the exact thing that he finds you the most sexy in. Now he's gonna start having a conversation with you while you're out because his anxiety is bubbling. He needs to ease his own anxiety. He's gonna start sending you messages like, where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? How long are you gonna be, right? He wants you to be messaging him throughout the night because he wants to feel like you're still paying attention to him, like you still care about him, like you're not going out and maybe having conversations with other guys, like you're not going out and enjoying yourself so much that you forgot about him. He wants to ease his anxiety. You're not going to do that. But you're also, remember, it's a very delicate balance. You're also not gonna let him call you out for ignoring him. So throughout the night, you're not going to necessarily ignore all his texts. You're just gonna take a long time to text him back and message him. And when you do finally message him back, all you're really gonna respond and say is, I'm fine. When he asks you all these questions, I want you to essentially boil it down to, I'm fine. I'm out with my girlfriends. We're doing whatever it is that we're doing, right? And I'm having a good time, but I'm just not on my phone that much. I'm trying to be present with my girlfriends. This is very painful because see what a lot of guys will do at this time is they'll try to pretend like, because some guys will text this, some guys will spam call you, some guys will start FaceTiming you. I'm telling you, when this happens and a guy cares about you, he'll start getting discombobulated. You'll start seeing him act in ways that he's never acted before, I'm telling you. But you can't get all riled up, okay? You gotta remember there's still more work to be done. So as he's responding to you this way, right, you have to remember your goal here is a lot of guys will try to pretend that I'm spamming you with calls and messages because I just want to make sure that you're safe. That's the one, right? Oh, I'm not, trying to, just be up on your bumper about everything. I just want to make sure you're okay. You haven't really texted me. We're not really talking. I just want to make sure that you're safe. You're good. As long as you're safe, you're good. I'm good, right? That's what he's going to say. Now, when you answer him that I'm safe, I'm okay, I'm with my girlfriends and we're just having a good time. I can't really be on my phone though because I want to be present with my girlfriends. Now he can no longer use that as an excuse. So let's say, for the sake of example, you wait till like 2 hours after he sends this message and calls you a couple of times to actually tell him that. Then once you say that, once you tell him that you're fine, you're safe, you're trying to be present with your girlfriends, you're not going to text him again for the rest of the night. And you're going to continue posting those amazing, sexy, seductive pictures of you on your story. You don't have to go crazy and post like 10 in a row, but just be strategic. Even if you want to post 1 or 2, okay? And throughout the day, 1 in the morning or 1 at the beginning of the time that you go out and 1 near the middle or the end, do it how you want to do it. But I want them to be in that same night. And I want him to feel that pain. And I want him to try and reach out to you and not really be able to get access to you. Step 10, the address. You've now, let's say the Saturday happens, okay? So we go through the whole day of the Saturday. You don't really respond. Now we're at the next day. Now, I know a lot of you have anxiety because you're like, whoa, I've done a lot, Tomisin. I don't know if I can do all that. That's a lot that I've just done to really upset him. It is, but it's also amazing because now you've just made this small thing. Well, your hurt is not small, but maybe it was small to him. Now you've made this situation that may have been small to him before a big, huge, gigantic situation. I should even make it this big, okay? It's a gigantic situation that's taking up so much space that it's literally unavoidable now. Now, from his own perspective, he has to address you. He has to. If he has any feelings for you whatsoever, he has to address you directly about all that's transpired this past week in your short responses, your energy changing, and then what happened Saturday with you going out and kind of going out with your friends and not really talking to him and not really seeming that interested in hanging out with him and basically blowing him off to hang out with other people. I promise you, any guy who has feelings for you, because remember, what you've done here is you haven't been so overt with your actions that he can say you've been ghosting me or you've been ignoring me or you flat out just stopped talking to me. Remember, what you've done here is strategically taken back so much of your energy and attention that now his confusion and his anxiety is forcing him to say, well, you haven't ghosted me. You haven't ignored me. You haven't stopped talking to me, but it's different. And I don't like that. It's different. I want it to go back to how it was. So now he has to address the situation. Remember, what did I say at the beginning when it relates to explanation? I talked about being open or being closed in terms of when you're ready to communicate with someone, are they actually ready to receive? Now you've just prompted him to address the situation directly from his own perspective because he is upset about how you have been taking back your energy, that he feels it needs to be addressed so he can understand why you've taken back your energy. And now he's asking you this direct question: what's the issue? What's wrong? Why are you acting different? And now he's very frustrated because not only is he seeing it, right, or feeling it in terms of your messages, right, or your short answers, he's also seeing it by seeing it on social media, by experiencing the pain of what happened on Saturday. Now he really feels it's necessary to address this situation. Very good. Once we get to step number 11 with the explanation, this is a different type of explanation. You have been smart enough to change the order of operations in the way that you choose to explain your hurt and pain and feelings to a man. You're smart. Remember what I said before about, yeah, your therapist will tell you, communicate open and honestly your feelings, put it all out on the table so everyone understands how you feel so that they can adjust and they can treat you how you want to be treated. That sounds great in an idealistic scenario. In reality, remember, men will naturally have that wall up, start defending their actions and explaining away and giving their excuses of why they couldn't do this and why they didn't do that and all this other stuff, okay? We don't need that. But because of what you've done in the past couple of days, specifically what you've done on Saturday, okay? You've been a bad girl. He's now, because he's prompted you to say, what's going on with you? What's the issue with you? Why are you acting like this? What happened on Saturday? Why did you go out and not message me? Why are you acting so different? Now, all of a sudden, when he's asking you these questions and you're ready to explain yourself and explain your feelings, he actually is ready to receive them, which is all we wanted from the very beginning. The reason that this has to happen this way is because notice what happened and the change in the approach. Rather than you coming to him and saying, I feel hurt about this thing that you've done. I don't like that you did this. I don't like that you did that. I want you to change this. I want you to change that. And then his response being able to defend what you feel or what you've come and told him, because he's prompting you by saying, I don't like the change in your energy. I don't like the change in your approach. I don't like the way you're barely messaging me. I don't like the way you're talking to me different. I don't like the way you're going out with your girlfriends, posting pictures, looking sexy as hell, and not hanging out with me and hanging out with them instead. Now you get to say, if you don't like the way that I'm acting or the energy that I'm giving you, well then, let me explain to you why my energy has shifted. Then you can go into detail about exactly what transpired. And you can say, hey, on Tuesday, and listen to what I'm saying here, because this is going to be a very important way to present this information now that you're actually explaining your feelings. On Tuesday, we were supposed to go out for sushi together. You had said 7 p.m. But 7 p.m. came, you didn't say anything. So that was upsetting to me, but I'm also not going to beg you to hang out with you or to go on dates with you. So even though I was upset about it, I don't need you to change, or I don't need you to do A, B, and C. If that's how you're going to approach the relationship or the situation, I'm just gonna invest my time in people who actually respect and appreciate my time. Notice everything that I said was about me, what's important to me, what I want, and what I need, okay? I didn't start talking about, hey, I need you to change this, I need you to change that. I said, this is important to me, this is how I operate, this is what I need. If you can't give that, that's fine. You don't even have to say that. It's implied, right? Because remember, when he comes to you, it's implied that, hey, if you don't like the way I'm acting, then these are the things that you need to adjust. If you can't adjust those things, that's fine. I'll continue moving forward like I was before. For step number 12, it is now adjustment time. Because after you finish telling him exactly what has transpired, exactly why it didn't work for you, and why you chose to respond in a different way rather than just begging him to change, begging him to make an adjustment, now he has the onus and responsibility to say, okay, I really dislike how things have gone the past couple of days. I definitely dislike how things went on Saturday. I want things to return back to how they were. I want you to start treating me how you were treating me before. I want things to be like normal. Because I want to return to how things were before, I, within my own volition, have come up with ways that I can change and make adjustments and changes so that what happened before that caused you to start acting different, that was upsetting to me, doesn't happen anymore. Now all of a sudden, you have this man, instead of you having to beg him to make these changes, saying, okay, you're right. Tuesday was my F up. Now he doesn't just actually think that to make you happy. He actually feels like this whole situation got messed up. If it started with Tuesday, Tuesday was a mess up. And he's feeling that, okay? I messed up. I need to plan better, right? When it comes to these dates, I also need to understand my work schedule better, because let's say for the sake of argument, the reason that he kind of messed up with the timing is because he worked later than he was supposed to. And then because he worked later, he had these projects, he had all this stuff kind of got him discombobulated, and then he just forgot about what you guys had planned before, right? Let's just say for the sake of argument, let's say he's like, I need to take better care of my work schedule in planning my work schedule, but also saying no to things and being able to stand up for myself and not stay late or whatever the case, right? I also need to follow up with you like the day of, or follow up with you like an hour before so that you can be reminded of what's going on, or the night before so that we can properly make sure that, hey, if we planned a date for Tuesday, then we're still on for the next day, right? And notice how just by changing your approach, you're not going to necessarily not say anything to him or not explain yourself, but you're just going to explain yourself after he's gone through some pain, which I know it sucks, but sometimes guys have to go through pain. In the experience of that pain, he now opens up to saying, I don't like this pain. I want to return to a place that is more comfortable for me. And if I'm going to return to a place that's more comfortable for me, I just want to know what I need to do that. When he understands what the problem is, now he can start thinking for himself what the best solution will be. And now all of a sudden you have a man not only just apologizing with his words for the way that he hurt you, but also having a desire to take action on the way that he hurt you. Unfortunately, it's not just because, he's sad about hurting you, but really because of the pain it puts him in when he has hurt you. But nevertheless, you got your desired result.